third grade in high school.
Mm-hmm. So is that
Oh,
an interview before you took your lessons, right?
yes,
Like initial interview, introduction, a test, right? Preliminary
yes,
interview. Okay. Now, what we are going to discuss is actually a job interview.
yes.
Okay. Um, this may slightly differ because the nature for your university interviews will from your job interview will be the content for your job university interview
Mhm.
will include uh, the ways or the reasons why you enroll on that particular subject. So it focuses on your course or your nature of study.
Mhm.
Unlike a job interview, it will focus on the job offer or
Mhm.
your work, right? You see the difference? The university interview may consist of questions regarding your study.
Mhm.
The job will focus on the job description. All
Yes.
right. But then again, it will still ask questions, personal questions
Mhm.
regarding you. So it will also, both kind of interviews will ask you questions about your skills.
Mhm.
Okay. So you do have your notebook open with you now, right?
Yes.
Okay. First, we are going to uh, discuss interview tips for non-native speakers. Non-native speakers means speakers who are not first-hand language speakers for English. Okay?
Mhm.
The native speakers are actually Americans, British.
Mhm.
Non-native speakers uh, refers to Asians because this
Yes.
is not our first language. So
Yes.
we are non-native speakers.
Yeah.
All right. So please keep in mind
Mhm.
that practice is very important. Again, practice makes
Okay.
perfect. Okay. Try to practice with native English speakers. You can look for a U.S. friend,
Mhm.
okay, or you can check Facebook,
Mhm.
okay. Uh, Look for an English speaking friend. This will
Mhm.
improve your English actually. There's no time like present to start to speak English with native speakers more often. So find ways on how to speak, be able to converse with native English speakers. Do you have friends who are Americans?
No.
Mhm. How
Mhm.
about at school?
Um, no. Uh,
But you have friends who speak English, right?
yeah, but their English ability is not very good.
Mhm.
Um, they aren't good at speaking English.
Mhm.
Um, so I seldom speak English to them.
Mhm. So when do you talk English? Or when are you able to talk straight English?
Um, I started to learn English from when I was in elementary school.
Mhm.
When I was in the fourth grade.
Mhm.
Um, maybe I was only 10 years old, and my mother took me to learn English, English cram school. Then I started to learn English.
Oh, that's very good. So since elementary, you managed to speak English, learn speak English.
Um, yes, but um, we but in Taiwan, they many cram schools doesn't focus on speaking. Um, so I seldom um, practice speaking. Um, um, they always focus on test or exam. So my speaking is not very good.
Yeah, it's okay. Again, please remember that practice makes perfect.
Yes.
So as long as we practice, keep reading, okay, you should
Yeah.
master. Okay. So are there any questions regarding interviews before we continue?
No?
Okay. Now, please also remember that the interviewer may not know about your education or university system in your country.
Yeah.
Okay. Because learning differs from universities. Okay. So if your university is the best or among the top in your country, please inform the interviewer.
Okay.
Because by providing details to the interviewer will be able to know or will be able to know the correct questions to ask. And if you also give too many details, it will also make the conversation boring. So just tell the interviewer the right or a certain amount, just the background of your university or your study. Okay. And also notice or observe the interviewer's tone, the way he speaks, and his body language as well. You will know that he is interested or not depending on his tone, right? You may realize that he may be tired or something like that depending on his tone of voice. So it's very important.
Okay.
Okay. Now you also need to check if he nods. If he nods when you say something, it means that the interviewer is interested. Okay. So you can keep the conversation lively by nodding. You can also nod if you agree on his idea or something like that. All right? Now, the next tip is become familiar with some of the finance and banking terminology. Okay, these are terms in business.
Yes.
All right, so you can actually read news from Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Bloomberg News, and The Economist. You can actually search these titles in Google.
Okay.
All right, some financial books that you get familiar with may be including expressions like from the express yourself topics we had, but again this time it will be business expressions.
Yes.
All right, please remember that bankers read broker reports like coverage, finance reports, and industry reviews. So for university interviews, especially if the students will be taking business classes or business lessons, finance and banking terms should be considered. Okay, depending on your lesson or your course, you can also search on terms for that, because I'm sure that the interviewer will ask questions regarding your study. So study notes depending on which you will learn or which you will take. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the next tip is be more direct and succinct. Okay, let's look for the term succinct. See if it's pronounced correctly.
Okay.
Precise. Okay, that's succinct.
Succinct.
Succinct. Succinct. Just a moment.
Succinct.
Succinct. Okay, so it's pronounced as succinct.
Succinct.
So, when you answer questions, make sure that you are direct and precise, succinct.
Okay.
It should be simple. Okay? Bankers have actually a reputation for being direct and to the point, whereas some international students and professionals have been criticized for being too long-winded in their answers. Okay, avoid putting the answer of a question to the back of an explanation. Just give the answer first and explain later. So make your answers direct and simple. You can explain after. Okay? And interviewers may need simple answers, so if they don't ask for more explanation, then they must be satisfied with your answers.
Okay.
Okay. For example, also use positive questions or positive statements like, I love Barcelona. You can say, I love Barcelona, rather than saying, I don't like Madrid. So instead of saying, I don't like her or him, you can say something about what you like instead.
Okay.
All right. And if you need, if you don't need, or if you don't understand something, feel free to ask for explanation or clarification. Okay. You need to ask a question, and it is better to do so, because who would like to provide an answer that does not meet the interviewer's question? So make sure that you ask the interviewer if you don't understand something, if you need clarifications.
Okay.
You can say, or you can include the words, could you please clarify? Could you please be more specific? Could you repeat, or could you please rephrase the question?
Okay.
All right. And please don't be apologetic for your accent. Okay, so just feel free to tell or answer questions. Be spontaneous. Okay, if you are not or if you don't have the accent, the American accent, don't worry, because again, we Asians don't
Yes.
have English as our first language.
Yeah.
Okay, so our interviewers won't also expect us to have fluent, very English accent like speaking.
Mhm.
Okay, just speak what you feel, and the interviewer should understand.
Yes.
Just be
Okay.
clear. Just be
Mhm.
clear on your answer.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding the tips for non-native speakers, Asians?
No.
Okay. Now let's proceed to the cover letter. Okay.
Okay.
We are going to discuss on the content for application letters or cover letters and
Mhm.
resumes. Okay, I'll give you a minute or two to go
Mhm.
over the cover letter, and I will give you this. I will need you to make a sample cover letter for your of your own. Okay,
Okay.
I will give this as an assignment as well. I'll give you a minute to read and study the cover letter. Okay,
Okay.
hold on. You can actually write a sample cover letter now if you like. Do you want to write one,
Um,
or should it wait for tomorrow?
okay. But but my test only have to um test. I have I only have to participate the oral test. Um.
Or can you give,
Mhm.
or let's paraphrase. Were you able to pass a cover letter to the university before your interview?
What?
Were you able to write,
Mhm.
give a cover letter to the interviewer or to the university head at the office?
Um. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I only have to um join the oral test.
Oral test, okay?
Yes, like only test my speaking. Um, um, they don't need my cover letter.
Cover letter.
Yes,
Okay, it's okay. You
yeah,
will don't worry. This is still very important because you will still need this in your future encounters,
yes,
interviews.
right.
Okay, so let's just read it instead for now.
Oh, okay. It's
Okay.
Mhm.
So the cover letter, let's discuss the content or how the cover letters looks like.
Mhm.
Okay. So it should include the name of the applicant, Jennifer Smith. Okay. It should
Mhm.
also include the date.
Okay.
It should also include the address, the street number,
Mhm.
and then it should include also the heading, like Dear Mr. Smith or something like that.
Mhm.
Okay. Could you read
Okay.
the content? I wish to apply, something like that.
I wish to apply for the position of concentrate supervisor as advertised in the publication on 22 on 22 January 2006. Job reference number 123456. My enclosed resume provides you with an overview of my relevant experience and training. Uh, I have over 10 years of experience working in call centers and a solid commitment to this important customer service field. My most recent position has given me 2 years supervisory experience as team leader of 20 staff. I wish to build on this achievement and take on a management role in this field. To assist me in this goal, I have recently completed a 6-month course in management customer service centers. I can now offer you a combination of practical experience and up-to-date theoretical knowledge. I'd be delighted to discuss my application further with you. I can be easily contacted by phone or email. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, yours sincerely,
Mhm.
Jennifer Smith.
All right. We're very well said, Annie. Thank you. Please repeat the word experience.
Experience,
Contact.
contact.
Very good. By the way, the word center with the spelling CENTRES can also be pronounced as center.
Center.
All right. So instead of centuries, you can pronounce it as center.
Center.
Okay.
Okay.
It's another an old version for center.
Oh, okay.
All right. It can be spelled that way. So again, if you apply for a job or if you apply for an interview or something, okay, you in a letter you will include the purpose of your letter. Like in this one, I wish to apply for a position, so that's a purpose for a position of a call center supervisor. So that's a purpose of your letter, right? Now it will also include the body of your letter, like your skills
Yes.
and attachment like your resume and so on.
Yes.
And below the letter or below or before it will be ended, it will include closing remarks like yours sincerely and then your signature and your name. So these are very important. These are the parts you need to consider in writing a cover letter.
Yes.
Okay, you can also Google the
Mhm.
internet for sample letters. There are many to check.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's proceed to common job interview questions.
Okay.
Okay? Usually, the first question the interview will ask is about yourself.
Yeah.
Usually, the interview will ask, "Can you tell me about yourself?" If I'm going to ask this question, what will your answer?
Mm.
Can you tell me about yourself?
I'm not good at introducing myself, actually.
No, it's okay. Take your time. Just think like it's a role play. Okay, you can answer like in a sentence or two. Just feel free and speak freely.
Okay.
Okay, you can tell the interviewer about yourself, like your hobbies,
Mhm.
your work experiences, something like that.
Um, 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 I'm Annie, and I'm 20 years old. And um, I'm an introvert, and um, um, I like to listen to music or watch the movies or um, go go singing with friends,
Mhm.
and I also like to learn um, languages.
Mhm.
Um, and um, and I dropped out of university um, 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and I after that I started to um, works, and I works as a part-time worker, and I um, I I have um, been I have been um, uh, um, I have been accumulate in um, for works, and I plan to go back to university this year, and um, and
Alright.
um,
You can tell one more sentence about yourself.
um, and I decide to go back to school um, because I want to finish my education background um, and want to be an university student and um,
Alright.
yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for the introduction about yourself, Annie. Please remember, however, to speak positive words. You mentioned
Okay.
earlier that you dropped out of the university 2 years ago, right? So
Yes.
you can say instead, uh, I went to school after 2 years. I started to work, something like that.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so that it will give the interviewer a good impression of you. So please
Mm-hmm.
remember, it's a must that for interviews, refrain from saying negative words about yourself or negative words about something. Be
Okay.
positive, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because it will reflect your personality, especially during interviews. So you
Okay.
need to give them a good impression about you. All right?
Okay.
You answered earlier, you told me earlier, I started to work. Again, please remember that I singular is taken as plural form. So instead, use the word work without S.
Okay.
Okay? And you said, I have been accumulated. Remember that accumulation or accumulated refers to a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Instead, say, it has been accumulated.
It has been accumulated.
Okay? Never use a person, I. It should be
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay? You can also say, I
Mhm.
accumulated it. All right? So you can say it has been accumulated or I accumulated it.
Okay.
All right? So any questions before we explain about telling something about yourself?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me about yourself? A phrase or question is actually the most hated and the most common question in the interview history throughout the history of interviews. Okay,
Um.
this is typically asked at the beginning of the job interviews, any kind of interviews, because it will give the interviewer a personal background about the one who is interviewed. Okay,
Mhm.
this question will actually give the interviewer an opportunity to gain knowledge about you and your capabilities.
Mhm.
Okay, and please remember that when you answer, you will need to summarize your personality, your
Mhm.
skills, your experience, and your work history. So you can actually practice about this
Okay.
before the day of your interview.
Mhm.
All right. Uh, you can refrain actually from telling about more hobbies
Mhm.
or your pets. Okay,
Mhm.
just stick with the facts.
Mhm.
Okay, and the useful things that will be needed for your study or for your job.
Okay.
So you can say, I love to watch movies if
Mhm.
you are applying for entertainment.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you think uh, your speech will be related to the job or the study that you will be applying to, then feel free to tell about that.
Okay.
Avoid unnecessary data. Okay? Focus on the
Okay.
facts. Now, the second question may be, why do you want to work here?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's true, do not answer this as like, do not answer, refrain from answering because I really need a job and you were hiring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Focus, if you will encounter this question, why do you want to work here?
Yes.
Make sure that you research
Mm-hmm.
about the job offer so that you'll be able to answer this question. You also need to make sure that you know about the company background.
Yes.
Okay, tell the interviewer why you want to work there, why you admire the company, their product, or their services.
Okay.
Okay, you can start saying you want to work there because you really like their product. You want to be part of their company, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, make sure that when you speak, you make a connection between the job and your abilities. Because in the first place, you're applying for that job, certain job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're worth the hire. Why do
Yeah.
you think the interviewer or the personnel will hire you? This is because you are capable, because of your skills, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
mention the skills, your skills,
Mm-hmm.
and this should give you or should give them a
Mm-hmm.
good impression about you.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Now, one of the typical questions may be, why did you or why should we hire you? If asked about this,
Mm-hmm.
you need to make sure that you have a very good answer. Okay? Be specific as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Example, you can say why you should, or you can say you are a good employee, you are right for the job, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You are good compared to other applicants. You should be able to excel. In this question, you
Mm-hmm.
can explain your achievements, your accomplishments, and your experience, work experience. Okay, for
Okay.
example, uh, you're applying for a supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Can you answer why should we hire you as a supervisor? Try to answer it. Let's do it as a role play.
Um. Um. uh, mm, what is what does supervisor mean? Huh?
The supervisor is a leader or lower than a manager.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's higher than you. It's your direct manager
Mm-hmm.
or lower than your lower than a manager. Let me check. A supervisor is your boss. Okay, your manager.
Okay.
So can you tell me why we should hire you as a supervisor? Like, for example,
Um.
you are applying for a supervisor. Why should we hire you?
uh, because um um Ernest um, for to everything, and I work hard um on my job, and um I'm careful, and um 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 and I'm serious to my job. And if manager make me to do something, then I will try my best to um, finish it. Um, mm, um, mm, and um, if I encounter something I don't understand, and I will ask my colleagues or manager to find answers. And
Is that all?
yes,
Okay. Thank you very much for that answer. Uh, Annie,
okay,
you said honest to everything and work hard for my job. I am serious to my job. Okay, you can say I am hardworking, I am honest, and I am serious with my job. Instead of saying to my job, you can say serious with my job.
okay,
So these are your qualities. All right?
okay,
Why should we hire you is one of the many questions that will be asked. Okay, again, you need to be specific. In
okay.
this, aside from your qualities,
Mm-hmm.
you can say about your achievements, like your job experiences,
Mm-hmm.
like your work. You can tell
Mm-hmm.
about your work during your part-time job. Okay, you can tell something about that. Your
Okay.
accomplishments, like for example, if you were named the best employee of the month or of the year, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Any experience that will be
Mm-hmm.
valuable for your interview.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the other questions may be, why did you leave your last job or why did you resign? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a test
Mm-hmm.
rather than a question. This is more of a test because the question that will be asked because the interviewer will want to see uh he will check or he or she will check your background.
Okay.
Okay, you should be honest as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be angry or violent. Okay, just
Mm-hmm.
be honest, and uh, any interviewer will understand why you leave your job. Okay, just clarify, just justify why you leave your job. Okay,
Okay.
most important, do not uh badmouth your former company or boss or co-workers. Do not say something bad about them, because if you do so, the tendency is you will lose a job. The company will not, or the interviewer will not accept you, because if you say something about your previous job, bad things about your previous job, then the tendency is you will also tell the same way about them if they will hire you.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a must. Do not say negative things, especially about your former boss.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So this is the tip, a few tips when you will be asked why you resigned on your last job. You can say
Okay.
your contract was ended, something like that. You need to transfer to another location. That's why you resign to your job.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go somewhere else, something like that.
Okay.
You can also say, just be honest. You resign because you wanted to look for a job with a higher pay, and
Okay.
the interviewer will surely understand.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next question may be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is very typical. Okay, this question will actually allow the interviewer to know how motivated you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead of saying the or telling the interviewer that you'd like to go to vacation or something like that, make sure that you offer information about your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you tell something related to your job, or tell something about what you'd like to do in 5 years. How do you yourself in 5 years? Like, for example, in 5 years, I should become a manager. I should be promoted. It should be work related.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if I will ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? If in the university, if I will ask you, okay, this time focus on the university interview, not the job interview. By
Um,
the way, uh, what did you apply in the university? Is it a
um,
lesson, a business degree?
the programs, international business and trade program,
Mm-hmm.
and fashion
Fashion.
and innovation management.
Mm-hmm.
Um, two of this.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
All right. So if let's say we are going to have a role play, okay? I'll
Okay.
be the university interviewer,
Mhm.
and you applied for those lessons, those degree. All
Okay.
right. Now I'm going to ask you as the university interviewer, where do you see yourself in 5 years? After 5 years, after studying, what do you see yourself? How do you see yourself?
Um, um, I want to um, improve my English as well,
Mm-hmm.
and um, and learn the um, prof- um, learn the learn a professional knowledges um, in my for my management about my management and um um and to achieve um what I want to do and I also want to make a lot of foreign friends and um, I wish I could use what I learned on my um, future work and um, mm, um, I wish I can learn many things and new knowledges um, like this.
Okay. Please remember, by the way, thank you for that answer, Annie. Please remember that in answering interview questions, you can be again direct, okay, and be more specific, and you can you can answer in long term, okay. Um, speaking or telling the interview about enhancing your English skills and something like that may be introduced about, or you can tell about that, or you can say something about your English skills on your introduction, okay. However, during questions like where do you see yourself in 5 years, this should be your goal, okay, and your goal is not just to speak English, okay, that's one of the few, but think of this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This should be long term, it should be big time, like in 5 years you will not just be an English speaker, okay, you should be master in English in speaking, you should speak by that time, you should be able to speak like a native speaker, you should be very fluent, you should have your accent already, okay. And for example, you can say in 5 years you should be already a manager, you should for a university interview, you can say I should have graduated, I should have finished schooling in that time, within that time, okay. So since we are running out of time, Annie, I'm going to review the things we have done today, okay. We have discussed the different tips for non-native speakers. Non-native speakers are Asians like us, okay. You can practice preparing your cover letter for any university interview or any job interview in the future, okay. Please also remember the common job interview questions. Again, please be direct and simple, straight to the point, and make sure that you do not mention negative traits as possible, okay. You need to give the interviewer a good impression of you,
Right.
yeah, right, because that's your goal, to get hired, okay. So, are there any questions before you go, Annie?
No.
All right, again, thank you very much for your time. Good job today.
Okay.
Just
Thank
keep reading and speak English all the time at home.
you.
Okay, you can read magazines, books, English books, and you can watch TV and listen to English music.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, please work on practicing English because that should enhance your speaking skills. Overall, you've done a great job.
Yes.
I can
Thank
see
you.
a very good improvement compared to your first few lessons during your first enrollment.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So please read in advance
Okay.
the next few lessons, and you can answer interview questions, the first few interview questions. You can also click on the links for possible answers.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll continue next meeting tomorrow
Yes.
at 10.
Okay. See you.
See you. Thank you very
Okay.
much for your time. Have a nice night.
Bye bye.
Good night. Bye bye.